Hi, this is Andre. This is another video taking a look at using various live looping functions to get song structure happening in a live performance. This is going to be an analysis of a tune I've been doing live for many years called Serious Drama. As with the other song structure videos that we've done, we're going to start off with a complete live performance, and then we will do some analysis after the fact. So we're starting off with a short loop. We're not even worrying about the length or how it's relating to the ultimate tempo, because as we're about to see, we're going to be expanding the length of it quite a bit. So now we're using the sus insert function, and when you use that function in conjunction with stutter mode in the loop delay parameter, then you get this kind of granular manual time stretch thing happening. And this is an effect I like a lot. I use this effect a lot in conjunction with other things, but I think this is the first video where I've kind of started a tune just by using that, and I guess it's a good demonstration of how that effect affects the audio. So as this particular performance happened, I ended up getting a loop that I liked as a foundation without having to do any other fancy stuff aside from using the sus insert button. A lot of the time I'll use sus insert in conjunction with many other functions like replace or unrounded multiply or that kind of thing. But for whatever reason on this particular performance of this particular song, I came up with something that I liked just using the sus insert and the overdub functions. And now adding in the traditional percussive hits on the guitar in order to get some drum sounds happening. So we were in the quick change bank, now we're switching a one bank higher to the multiple loops bank, and this is where we're going to hang out for the rest of the tune. The first thing I'm doing in the multiple loops bank is hitting the start point button just to make sure that the actual musical downbeat of the loop lines up with the technical start point of the loop itself. Now we're copying loop 1 into loop 2. As you will see in a little bit, I don't really need to do that because I'm only really using two separate loops for this particular arrangement of the tune, but I guess my habit is to have an initial beat in loop 1 and then have an A section and a B section spread across loops 2 and 3. So I guess for myself mentally, it's just easier to think of it that way rather than trying to keep track of the fact that on this one particular tune I only need to have two loops available. And now we're copying again. We're copying from loop 2 into loop 3. Loop 3 is going to be the chorus loop. Loop 2 is what I think of as the verse loop for this particular song. The idea is that the chorus should be kind of bigger and a little more active and a little more intense, as most choruses in most songs are. So I'm starting with loop 2, the verse loop, as being relatively sparse and unadorned. And then when we copy it into loop 3, that's when we start building up more information, just so that the chorus section has more stuff happening. So now we have the basic foundation loop for the chorus section built up, but before we play the melody of the chorus section, I want to play the verse melody. So that means we have to switch back to loop 2. And then once I've switched back to loop 2, I'm going to hit multiply and then start adding in the bass line, just because the bass line covers 4 times through the initial loop, but we never multiplied out loop 2, so we still need to do that. So we're kind of taking care of two things at the same time. We're increasing the length of loop 2, and we're adding in the bass line at the same time. And now the octave effect has been switched off, and we're going to use multiply to start building up the initial statement of the verse melody. So now we're coming to the end of the verse melody. We're going to stop the multiply process so that we have 16 cycles of the section, and we're going to leave overdub open because we're going to go straight into another harmony line, harmonizing the melody. And for this particular tune, I do want the harmonies to build up and get layered on top of each other. So overdub is staying open while I'm playing this harmony. we're about to switch back to loop 3, which is the chorus loop. We haven't built up the melody for the chorus yet. That's what we're about to do. Also notice that as we leave loop 2, we're leaving overdub open, and that's deliberate. When we jump back to loop 2, the idea is we're going to start overdubbing immediately, and you'll see that happen in a couple of seconds here. And now using Multiply to start playing the chorus melody, the initial statement of the chorus melody. It's twice as long as loop 3 previously was. When we jumped into loop 3, it was 8 cycles long, but for this particular melody, it needs to be twice that long, which is why we have to do Multiply. So we're done with the initial statement of the chorus melody. Now we're exiting Multiply with overdub because we're going to start building up layers here. I'm about to play a harmonized version of the melody, but I do want the harmonies for this tune to be built up as layers, one on top of each other. So that's why we're leaving overdub open. Now we're about to jump back to loop 2, the verse loop, and keep in mind that we left overdub open when we last left loop 2. That means that as soon as we're in loop 2, it will overdub anything that I happen to be playing. And at the same time that the EDP jumps to loop 2, I start playing a different harmony on the guitar, which immediately gets added to the loop because overdub is open when we jump into loop 2. And one more time through the verse loop and adding yet another harmony. So this is the fourth melodic line total that has been built up in this particular loop. There was the initial melody, and now this is the third harmonization of that melody. Now we're done with the second verse. We're going to jump back to the chorus, which is on loop 3, and just as we did with loop 2, overdub was left open on loop 3 when we were last there. So that means that as soon as we enter loop 3, overdub is going to be open, and anything that we start playing is going to be added immediately. And just like when we switched back to loop 2 for the second verse, now we're coming up to the second chorus, and as soon as we enter that loop, I'm playing a harmonized version of the chorus melody. So it's the same basic approach as what we were doing for the second verse. Now we're doing that for the second chorus, and we're leaving overdub open so that we can stack multiple harmonies on top of each other. And now we're coming to the end of the tune, and I am using Remultiply to reduce this loop down to a quarter of its original length. We just have the last 4 bars of the melody repeating over and over again. And this is a tool that I use a lot in a ton of songs, not just with live looping stuff, but just compositionally. This is something I guess I like it a lot because I sure do it a lot. And now 2 things are happening. We're turning overdub off so that I can play over the loop without having that material added into the loop. And then we're going to do a feedback fade out. So the left-hand pedal is controlling feedback on this particular patch, and as I bring it back, feedback gets reduced, which means that the loop starts fading out. So I'm noodling gratuitously over the top of the loop while the loop fades out. And again, because we turned overdub off, all the noodly stuff that I'm playing now does not get added into the loop. One thing I guess I'll mention as well is that for a long time when I played this tune, there was just the chorus melody. There was no verse melody. And gradually I tried to introduce some ideas for a verse melody, and it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I'm comfortable enough with multiple loops, just mentally and in a conceptual sense, to feel reasonably comfortable going into like an A and B section type of thing, or switching between a verse on loop 2 and a chorus on loop 3. I'm reasonably good at doing that now, but it's taken a long time to get myself to the point where I could do that kind of mental juggling and feel comfortable doing it. As I continue to try and get better and learn more stuff about this, maybe I will get to the point where I'm comfortable adding in a bridge. I don't know. So this is a tune that has evolved over time and possibly will continue to evolve as time continues to go on. Thank you as always for tuning in. I will talk to you guys very soon. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.